this is why trans women is getting away with being women.
No,
because nobody
I'm
can
not talking
define
about that.
a woman.
See, you're bringing
like
up,
nobody can define a woman. Like,
you're bringing up
the same
no.
concept. We know what a woman is,
and
just like we know what femininity
different.
is. Like,
That's why I'm asking
Because
you.
gay men are feminine.
Yeah, like because now you're bringing things up that have nothing to do with it.
We're trying to move the goalpost on terminology.
No, but I'm not moving the goalpost on terminology. I asked you a direct question. I asked you what was your idea, and boy, it's just a vibe. You couldn't give me a direct answer on what that is.
Yes, it's nurturing.
So then,
a woman that's empathetic, a woman that's emotional,
so
like
is
all
a
of those
man
things.
who doesn't have his money and again, I'm not saying that. Oh, you gotta have $6 million before you come and fuck with me. I'm not even saying that. What I'm saying though is if you're saying that if a man, if he's down on his luck and he lost his job and he don't got it right now,
a man
that you're
in a relationship. I already proved to you that I'm capable of providing for you and our family. I'm saying when we're in a relationship and I'm down on my luck, are you going to still have the same respect for me? And are you still going to support me? Like all of those, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about meeting me off the street and I'm some bum ass nigga. I'm talking about I proved myself to you already.
Yeah.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Daily Wrap Up Crew. No booker, but I go by the name of Eli. As always, we got Ace with us.
Yes, indeed. It's Ace. You know the deal. It's funny he got on a boot and a tee because that's his favorite meal. You heard? Ace the coach.
That was clever. I ain't got nothing for that.
Sheesh, man.
That was bars.
That was decent. That was decent. I ain't gonna hold you. That was decent.
The boot and the tee.
I mean, it was decent.
And you look like R. Kells. Come on, boot tee.
Sean Paul always got something to say. Last but not least, we got Sean Paul in the building.
Just give me the light. What it do, man? I'm here with my crew, man. Shout out to my boys from the Dice, so y'all know I'm ready to roll. You know what I mean? That's
okay, all right, decent.
I mean, shout out my boys. You know what I'm saying?
I don't want to shout out that jacket too.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man.
That jacket is hard though. I ain't gonna hold you. Like,
what it do? You feel me?
Okay,
with my crew. You know what I'm saying?
We get one too?
I don't know. Maybe in a few.
It's like, yo, anyway, man, we got some special guests in the buildings. Ladies, let them know where they can follow you at.
Hey, ladies and gents. My name is Miss Brownstone. You can follow me on Instagram at ms.brownstone_. You can follow me on YouTube or subscribe on YouTube at Miss Brownstone. And I'm a podcaster. I teach women about self-worth, having standards, and hypergamy.
Okay.
Oh, and Jersey in the building. You gotta shut that out.
Oh, gotta
Jersey. All right.
My name is Raima, and my IG is little bit raw. Sorry.
Okay.
My name is Katie. My Instagram is kt.2k. Nice to meet you. I'm happy to be here.
Listen, before we get into this first topic, make sure y'all like, subscribe if y'all not already subscribed, join the membership, cop the. This is exclusive,
man.
Dailyrapupcrew.co. Y'all might find some exclusive on there, so make sure y'all cop the merch. And like I said, join the membership, man. We got a lot of exclusive behind the scene access. We got some exclusive interviews coming up. I ain't trying to spoil nothing, like, you know what I mean? But join the membership so y'all can find out. Listen, before we get into this first topic, I do want to ask this question. And it seems like it would be an obvious answer, but would you rather have $5 million or 5 minutes with Jesus? Which one y'all choosing?
Is Jesus gonna let me come back to life?
You gotta pick one or the other. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what you gonna.
I would take the $5 million.
I'm gonna take the mil.
Because I think, we're gonna have to spend eternity eventually with them, right? If we going, if you die, so I guess you kind of. What's the point in seeing them early? I might as well just wait.
Yeah.
And any Keem?
I think I'm gonna take the 5 minutes, man.
The 5 minutes.
I got some questions I need answered about, you know what I mean, what's going on.
Okay.
And I'm assuming that I'm coming back to Earth, so that's just on my assumption.
Yeah, I ain't saying nothing about niggas dying, like, you know what I'm saying?
Like, you gonna see him, you gotta be dead.
I mean, that's Jesus. He can do anything. Like,
people see him in church all the time, right?
I mean, that's what they claim.
If you go.
I mean, that's what they be saying.
What about you, Jew?
I ain't gonna hold y'all. I'll see him later. You know what I'm saying? Shut up. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to go into the upper room. You feel me?
Yeah, yo, you know what's the crazy part? I thought everybody was gonna say Jesus because it just sounds like bad if you don't
If
pick
you
Jesus.
don't
I got
you know what I'm
kids.
saying?
Jesus
Like,
understand my kids need to eat. You get what I'm saying? Like Jesus wouldn't be mad at me.
damn.
I'm gonna spend it on the kids, not the.
I mean,
But I ain't gonna. I was gonna take the money at first, but I might go with Jesus now, man. Like, you know, in that 5 minutes, he can show me. He can make me make more money than that
That's a
5 million.
fact,
Like,
you know
he
what
can
I
teach
mean?
me all types of secrets to life, all types of cares and shit. Like, you know what I
You
mean?
should want to see Jesus today as well. You get what I'm saying? For
Nah, yeah,
pick.
that is true. But you
So-
over there y'all picking the money over Jesus. How Jesus gonna feel? Y'all picking the money over him?
and
like,
they say money is the root of all evil. So.
Or he could have presented you with the opportunity to choose the money.
Shout out to that. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to
He
that.
could have said, man.
You know what I'm
Jesus,
saying?
if you listening, man, like now. Listen, let me get to this first topic, right? Do you believe that modern men deserve feminine and submissive women?
Oh, you changed the question up. I was actually about to say, can I ask the question before I start?
Oh, okay. All right,
Okay.
sure. Like,
Just make sure for y'all knowing, everybody watching, y'all understand the difference between, you know, passion and aggression, right? Everybody got that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because when I talk, I don't want to hear that I'm coming off masculine or anything.
It's a
like that.
possibility you could still be coming off masculine.
just because you want us that you're
Yeah.
gonna be masculine, don't
No,
mean
no,
that
no,
masculine.
no,
Like, you know what I'm
no,
saying?
no.
Like, we understand masculine energy, so you know what I mean. We
Mhm.
do. I do understand what you're saying.
But
though,
passion does fuel aggression sometimes too, though. So I mean, it's not necessarily like a fine line.
I feel like when I think of aggression, it's more like somebody in your face getting violent, yelling.
But that can
carrying
come from
on.
passion, though. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean that is true.
I don't know. I feel like one is emotion and the other one is more of an action. And masculine energy is more about doing. Feminine energy is more about emotion and being, right?
Okay,
So,
all right. Well, you the
that's
first
the
woman
difference.
in 100 episodes to ever
Have a
actually have a
definition.
definition of it. Like, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
so back to the topic. Do you think modern men deserve feminine and submissive women?
Most modern men, no, I don't think they do.
So what do you think they deserve?
We could get to that, or you want to go around? I mean, it's just like most modern men nowadays are feminine. So a feminine and submissive woman, femininity, like feminine energy and feminine energy, just it clash. It's like two alphas. It's not gonna work. So how are you gonna have somebody that's submissive to you if you're just as feminine as me? I can't trust your leadership. You know, if that makes any sense.
We could double back to that. What about you? You think modern men deserve feminine and submissive women?
No,
No.
it's only because a lot of modern men feel like they deserve it.
Mm.
Well, I'm pretty sure all men feel like they deserve it.
They're not
but a lot of
qualified.
men, there it is. They're not qualified because you could be doing blah blah blah, and if I'm not getting what I'm supposed to be getting as a woman, and you're not coming back to me as a man, then why am I giving you feminine energy? You don't deserve it.
So y'all giving a masculine energy? I'm just confused.
I'm not giving you anything.
Yeah, I'm just
So
not
you're
gonna
not
deal
just
with
giving no energy.
No.
you.
Okay. I mean, what about you?
I can't say it's like a yes or no. I think sometimes things are like a little bit nuanced. I don't think you can just say no because not everybody's the same. You can't say every man is the same because that's not the truth, right? So, and every woman's not the same because I don't think that's the case. People are dynamic. But I think that nowadays, I think a lot of people expect certain things out of women without necessarily putting in the work. And I think sometimes we don't realize like how far we've come from like what courting is or what dating is and what really envelops, you know, the essence of that. And yeah, so I can't say, I guess no, but at the same time, I think it depends on the right person and what they're willing to, you know, if they're willing to actually court you properly in order to help you out.
Yeah, that's why I said most modern men, because there are some modern men that, you know, they're in their masculine and they understand that you're supposed to pursue a woman and court her and how to treat a woman. You know, they understand they're supposed to protect and provide. But then you have the other half where they're just trying to figure out life and figure out where they fit in at. So a lot of them beat on their chest like King Kong and say they're alpha when they're really just a beta. Then you got some of them that claim that I'm masculine when they're really feminine, you know. Society and a lot of things that's on social media, especially red pill content, got niggas messed up. Well, men messed up. So
well, let me say this too. I think a lot of things now, like we're used to instant gratification as a society. I think now we want things when we want it. So I think some men, when they tend to approach women, they look at it like, oh, well, these are the things I want up front, you know? And it's like, okay, well, what can you give me? And it's not necessarily about physical, tangible items or anything like that. But in general, like what could we bring to the relationship? What's the intent behind it? Are you just here to just take what I have to offer, or is it is it more?
I think men, we just generally sometimes want to know what you do offer, like more or less. You get what I'm saying? I think when
it's almost like an investment. I mean, dating is an investment. You pursuing the right woman is an investment. So
Right.
men want to know
Look
what's
at
the
Eli.
what's the return on investment. You get what I'm saying? And this is why that question about what do you bring to the table is not so necessarily like I'm on a first date with you. I'm like, yo, what do you bring to the table? I need to know, because some women only do offer sex and they think the sex is good enough to keep a man and they don't bring other things.
Right.
So that's what men are wanting to know, because some women ain't offering much outside of that. You
Right.
get what I'm saying? So now it's like, if I'm doing all this courting, what am I realistically getting back in return? Like, you know what I mean?
But I guess my thing is too, if you were to flip the tables and ask a man, okay, well, what can you offer me? Then I think sometimes they tend to get offended, like, oh, you're after my money, or you only want what I have, or if I'm somebody. Meanwhile, it's like, well, you're asking me that, so why can't I ask you the same question?
I think that's
I think the question in the whole to ask each other that is stupid, because I feel like when you're dealing with someone, you watch them, you study them, right? So you should know like what you got yourself into. You should have a good discernment to know, okay, well, this woman is this, and that. And if I deal with her, I can get this, and that, before you start investing your time and money and everything like that, and I do feel like you should know a woman's worth, just like a woman should know a man's worth. So for me to have to sit down and, if we're on a date, and say, well, Eli, what you bring to the table? Why did I even give Eli the time of day if I didn't know that from the beginning?
Yeah, but the thing is, me personally, I know how to articulate myself where I can tell a woman what I can bring to the table. I would never get offended by that. You get what I'm saying? Like now, if I did have anything to bring to the table, now I'd be like, nah, she's trying to expose me. What you mean what I bring to the table? Like, I have no problem letting a woman know why I am the best candidate to, for a long-term successful relationship. So I have no problem articulating myself. So I think that's what some men are saying, well, we want to hear it out your mouth, because that's how you hold people accountable, by their words and by their actions. You get what I'm saying? So I want to hear you say what it is that you can offer a long-term successful relationship, and then I want you to back it up. You know what I mean? If you never tell me what it is, then I can't hold you accountable, because you never let me. Right. You know what I mean? It's like you never verbally communicated that, so I can't even expect. It's like politicians. We hold politicians to those same type of expectations. Like if they say, yo, for your vote, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And then when they get in office, they don't do it. Then it's like, you know what I mean? You said you was going to do it. So now I have to hold you accountable. I mean, that's at least how I look at it. Obviously, other people will look at it another way. You know what I mean?
I was about to say, that's what I was getting at, is like, what you tell me really doesn't mean anything. It's more about what you do, what you show. You feel me? So before we even started going on a date and I'm talking to you, I'm getting to know you in the process of however you might have approached me, I should be able to tell, like, oh, that's a real man, like, and that you should be able to look at a woman and say, okay, that's a real woman, that's a lady. I already know what I can expect. Like, when do we stop seeing a value in each other? Like, your words don't mean shit. People tell me all the time they're gonna do this, and that, but it's about how you show up. And I'm not gonna give somebody the time of day that I feel like is gonna waste it or is not worthy of me. So just to go back to the whole beginning of it, when I said that they're not qualified, it's like nowadays it's all about a high value man, a high value woman. And half of the men that's beating on their chest like King Kong saying, I want a feminine, submissive woman and I'm high value. They're not,
So you think, so what you're saying is only those caliber of men deserve feminine and submissive women, is what you're saying?
And then you get into caliber, and then we start talking about six figures. But I'm not even looking at 6 figures. I'm saying a man who is a genuine, real man, who shows up, who provides for you. And I'm not even saying finances, which we do need the finance. Okay, you're going to have some of this. Right. But you should provide for your woman, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And vice versa. You get what I'm saying? So that man that shows up for you, that has your back, he's your rock, and then he invests in you with his money and his time, he deserves that woman, because automatically she's going to fall in suit. She's going to fall in line, and she's going to let you lead. Now, I can't speak for all women, but majority of women that I know and that I'm around, my ladies and ladies I teach, that's what I see.
The hard part is for most men, when we give and we give and we give in, and then some women take advantage of that. You get what I'm saying? So it's hard for, like I've said this before, like it's hard to point out a good woman when they're standing next to the bad ones. You get what I'm saying? So if every woman is doing the same shit, whether you're a great quality of a woman, and you chilling with girls that's not, and you doing the same thing that they not, it's hard for us. You could be telling us one thing. That's why he said we live through your words and then your actions. So it's kind of hard to point out what is a good woman, and then she's not leading, like you said, a man has to earn for a woman to be feminine. That should be natural. You get what I'm saying? And that's easier for a man to point you out like, okay, I'm willing to, give my all or go to the next level. We have to stalemate to see who's going to cave in first, and it's preventing successful relationships.
So you're saying femininity should be natural?
Femininity, yeah. Submission is obviously somebody that is, your husband or your boyfriend, somebody that you're in a serious relationship with. I think they earn your submission, but naturally, like I think, because women would never let men. I can never come up to you and say, yo, I'm feminine until I can meet the right woman and make me, I have to lead in my masculinity. That's what attracted you to me in the first place, because of my masculine energy. Like, if I was on some, hey sis, that's a night, I love those hills, you won't be fucking with me. Like, you know what I'm saying? And this is why, I hear women say, Black women specifically have to be masculine, X, Y, and Z. And I do understand that. But at my age, you have to lead when I meet you have to lead in your fem, because I'm a lead in my masculinity, and I'm not trying to wrestle with you to get you to sit. I'm not doing all that. I'm too old for that. Like, you get what I'm saying? Either you lead in it or you don't. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like,
may I say something?
Sure.
Just to point out that part is like, first, and you probably heard a lot of women say this, in order for a woman to be feminine in their relationship, they have to feel safe, right? So that's why you're making a comment like you automatically got to be masculine, right? But in the beginning, we already talked about masculinity is doing, action, results, problem solving, right? Femininity is more of an emotion. So if, more of an emotion and being, how can I explain it? Perfect example, this is what I say on my podcast, right? If you are hungry and you're getting home from work and you're driving and you're like, I'm hungry, I need something to eat, right? Masculine energy will be like, all right, I need to solve my problem. I see Popeyes, I'm gonna pull over and get some Popeyes. I don't care, it fixes it. Feminine energy is more like, I wanna go to my favorite restaurant because of the ambiance and the way it makes me feel. And I like that they cook the food like this in front of me, you know what I'm saying? So you see the difference? So I say all of that to say that when it comes to femininity, you can't expect a woman sometimes to just automatically just like be that when you meet her, because she has to feel safe. If you leave me in the jungle, I'm not going to have a dress on the hills. I'm gonna have to adapt to my environment, that makes sense. So she can be friendly when you meet her. She can be, I guess, girly and appealing and be nice, pleasant, but to actually get her vulnerable side, she got to feel safe with you. She got to feel like.
You're talking about vulnerable. I'm not asking you to open up and be like, if I'm having a casual conversation with you and I'm trying to get to know you, I see you look attractive, I want to have a conversation with you, I expect you to lead in your. It shouldn't be like, damn, I see a nigga got a gun. Now I feel safe, and now I want it should just be natural, because again, we don't have that excuse to never not be masculine. Like, you get what I'm saying? So again, femininity is what attracts men to women. Like,
that shit is powerful.
Like, it's so powerful, but it's y'all know I'm gonna rant about this. I'm not even gonna do it. It's just so powerful, and I just wish our women would understand it more, because feminine energy can put you in more rooms than masculine energy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of women have used their feminine energy throughout the course of history to get what they want out of men. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's the power. That's the superpower y'all have. You know what I mean? So.
And I think sometimes people don't realize when, like, I don't think people are necessarily, let me say this. I think femininity also is something that you have to be conscious of. Why are you laughing at me?
No, it's time to grab a drink.
I think it's something that you have to be conscious of. I think a lot of women, not all, but even just from friends that I've had to let go, things like that, a lot of people are living in survival mode. I think a lot of people tend to live in the past based off of the bad experiences they had. And I think men too. I think we often look at things as, oh, it's a woman's problem or a man problem. I think we as humans, we as people, we all tend to have a lot of people are hurt, right? So I think sometimes people don't necessarily look at the situation. They don't take what they can learn from it and how they can grow from it. I think a lot of times it's, oh, well, this person did this to me, so now I'm gonna treat everybody like this because I'm hurt. That blocks you from being able to grow and move forward and be in your feminine. I think that's definitely something that's important. So I think healing is a big key on that as well. So I think sometimes, men, if they approach a woman and a woman turns them down and they're a bit rough about it, then they feel like, oh, well, fuck her. She rough and she masculine or whatever. But sometimes you don't necessarily know. And I'm not making an excuse, but I think sometimes people don't know what people's story and what they've been through. So I think sometimes people are rough for when you start to date someone or whatever the case. And I'm not saying that that's acceptable if that's what you don't want to deal with, but I think sometimes there's more to the story. Just like how some men have certain feelings as to why they don't want to do certain things for women. There's a reason for that. That doesn't come from nowhere.
Right.
It's all about changing perspective. And I don't think it's necessarily like a teaching moment for them or, oh, well, what can I do to change them or make them do better? That's something that you have to want to do. But that's why I think it's like a conscious effort you have to make in order to move forward.
So yeah, that's why I was asking. Well, that's why I brought up like the difference between it and trying to pick his brain, because some men get femininity confused with just being friendly, you know. And a lot of women, like once you described it or whatever, I'm like, okay, I get what he's saying. Like if you say hi to a girl, she's like, yo, what's up, nigga? Like that's a little, that's a little mad, it's a little rough, you know what I mean? So I would say, okay, that's a little masculine, that's masculine energy. But a lot of women, especially Black women, it's not that they're not feminine, they have wounded feminine energy. That's why, you know, in one of your previous episodes, you had a girl saying, oh, well, I no longer date for love, I date for money. That's because she got hurt. You know, when she really wanted to say, okay, now I date for stability, but she couldn't like put the words together and, you know what I mean? Because she need to heal. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of women.
But there was a lot of women agreeing with her.
Because they hurt too, baby. A lot of Black women are hurt. That's why you got the independent, I don't need a nigga pushing, because they daddy didn't show up for them, or Day and Ray didn't show up for them, or Marcus ain't show up for them. And now they just like, I'm going to be like this until he proves himself worthy. That's why we were saying in the beginning, like a lot of men nowadays are feminine. If you come around me and you feminine, I ain't gonna mess with you because you gonna force me to be in my masculine. And if femininity is my currency.
You see how much of a turnoff that is for you? A man operating in his feminine energy.
Yeah, you're correct.
That's exactly how men feel when we see women operating in their masculine. It's like, nah, I just don't want to deal with that. I'd rather go elsewhere, rather, you know, find me another Black woman, whatever the case is, because I know there's Black women capable of being feminine, obviously. But, you know, we are getting met a lot more with the masculine energy, and you have to break down this wall that you know, because of the trauma I've dealt with in order for me to exhibit this feminine, like, you know what I'm saying?
It even goes to the point where if you don't accept that challenge from a woman, you're less of a man, because you're not a real man, because you don't want to put up with it or help her get submissive or get in her feminine.
Out masculine her. Like.
Yeah, exactly. So now you're feminine. You're a pussy. Like niggas don't want to hear that shit. You like, all right, well, whatever.
And the same way that you said that it's turning you off, you didn't think about why he's feminine enough.
That's not my job.
That's what we're saying. It's not your job.
I agree with y'all.
Right. It's not our job.
Look.
That's why
we good.
Well, that's why I was saying I think it's like one of those things where it's not necessarily like a moment where you're like, okay, well, I see this project. Let me see what I can do to fix them or you know, make the situation better, or make them be a better project. Not everybody wants to do that. So and to me, I think obviously that I think it depends on the person. Like I feel like that's reasonable. If you see somebody and you feel like, okay, I feel like you can tell the character of a person when you first get to know them. You're like, all right, I don't feel like I want to deal with this. Nobody's perfect, you know. So naturally, there's gonna be certain qualities that you might like in a person. There's certain qualities you're not gonna like, but there's certain ones that, you know, will determine whether or not obviously you want to be with someone or not. Some good outweigh the bad, or some bad outweigh the good, I guess.
That's fair. But so yeah, just saying, just to go back to the original topic, that most modern men don't deserve feminine and submissive women. I would agree with you. You know what I mean? Like I said, the submissive part is I think that's for, you know, what your significant other.
That's the part that's earned.
That your significant other should get. You get what I'm saying? If you're in a relationship with somebody, that means you trust them enough, obviously, you know, that you would put yourself in a relationship with them. So of course you should be more submissive to them. You know what I mean? These hypothetical scenarios that women like to make, is like none of that matters because you're not dating these other men. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I understand that y'all be upset by what men say. That's cool. Y'all not dating them. So I don't expect y'all to be submissive. But feminine, yes, I do still expect y'all to naturally be operating y'all feminine energy. That's just me personally, like, you know what I mean?
True.
So
well, when I made the question, I was talking about like in a relationship. I wasn't talking about like, oh, you just walking up to her. Like in a relationship.
And if you felt that he was qualified enough that you decided to agree to be in a relationship, then yes, he does deserve your feminine and submission. Like, you know what I mean?
But here, can I ask you?
Some men are not good leaders.
So why are you in the
That's
relationship?
what I'm saying.
No. I'm not in a relationship with him. I just said that.
But
once I meet you, I'm not gonna deal with you. But I'm just saying from what I have experienced, I know, like not experienced as in dating, but like what I come across day to day or whatever. A lot of modern men are not leaders. They're not masculine. I'm not trying to bash nobody. She hate men. It's not like that, okay? But a lot of modern men, they're not good at making decisions, and there's numerous reasons why a lot of them are feminine. So when you're submissive, you're giving your power to somebody else. So why would I put myself in the back seat or the passenger seat and say, hey, babe, here's the keys, drive me, and I know that you're not good at leading, And it's nothing that we should take personal, because in order to make a relationship work, it has to be feminine and masculine energy. So maybe he's feminine and he just need a masculine woman.
Are you talking about a relationship?
That's what I was talking about this whole time.
But that's what I'm saying. If you committed yourself to a relationship with this man, I would hope that you have done your due diligence and seen that he was capable of being a leader in X, Y, and Z, or else why would you be in a relationship with him? Now, if you're talking about irregular men on the street, then that's a whole different scenario. You never vetted those men out. You could tell you're not in a relationship with them because they acting feminine. Like, you get what I'm saying? But if you have committed to a relationship with a guy, and like I said, I would hope that you have done your due diligence. If not, then you just haven't vetted him properly, and then that's on you. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you a question. What is your idea of when you approach a woman that she's in her feminine? What does that mean to you?
What does it look
What does it look like?
I look at femininity as just a energy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, even when I have certain conversations, it's not about with women. It's not about, oh, she's soft spoken and docile and she's weak or nothing. It's just the energy that I could just naturally feel off of her that makes me want to just protect her, want to provide for her, like things this is a natural energy. Like, you get what I'm saying? Now, if you feel like you want to be combative all the time or want to, I don't got a problem with challenging a man, but if you looking to blatantly challenge him to be a headache, there's certain ways how to communicate that. You get what I'm saying? Like, now you want to give constructive criticism is one thing, but if you just want to be combative just to prove that you the alpha or whatever,
I think that's what a lot of it is truly, like, and I do understand women are, they say more educated than men. They go to school and all that. So when they meet a man from their neighborhood, they're already off the rip, ain't really trusting his word as a leader because they already think they know more than him. So how do you feel like you could feel comfortable listening to somebody that you feel like you're smarter than?
That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Listen, let me get to this next topic, right? You really tried to come for us with this topic.
Y'all made me tight, real tight. I'm hot, boiling.
Listen, you said that. Why do we feel the need to ask mostly Black women if they are prostitutes? Explain that.
Because, all right, so I watched a lot of y'all videos. I'm binge watching, and y'all probably didn't notice, but I hit y'all up in like 2022. And it was mainly because every time a Black woman, I know majority of your guests are Black women, but every time they come up here and they're talking about either if it's like old girl when she was saying, I no longer date for love, I date for money, or when they're talking about like a man courting them, it's just always this, Eli just sit in that chair and be real calm and say, so does that make most women a prostitute? And if you're not saying it, then it's him, And I'm just like, dang. Because when I watch other videos and you say that women are hypergamous by nature, and then you say that other races, they get feminine submissive women, but we also understand that those men in those other races are providing for those women. Then you talk about arranged marriages. So if the white woman is not being called a prostitute, when we already know that she doesn't go to college for education most of the time. She's going to get education, but she's going to get this ring, right? We know that already. So she's looking for a man to provide for her financially and all those other reasons, but mainly financially, right? So why are we not calling Becky a prostitute, That's what I'm trying to understand. And then Indian women, most of the time they have arranged marriages. You know that. Y'all said it multiple times. And they are hypergamous. That's why they're feminine and submissive off the rip, because they have to find a man. They're programmed like that, right? Well, raised like that. I want to say programmed. So why aren't we calling the Asian women and the Indian women prostitutes? Why is it when it's Black women?
I believe any woman that's only offering pussy and value herself through money is a prostitute.
I think that's, I don't ever remember specific. It's usually in context. You get what I'm saying? If the only thing as a woman that you feel like you can offer a man in a relationship is your pussy, then that is prostitute.
And
that's
then,
prostitute.
and
it's
also,
not about
also willing to say, if he has a bigger bag, then you need to get your bag bigger for me to stay with you.
Yeah,
That's prostitute
like
vibes.
She didn't talk about that we ain't gonna say that, but the girl that was on it, but see, my thing is when women start to say stuff like that, and they're not articulating themselves right, because let's be honest,
They
most
may
of
be.
women-
they may be.
You
You can't try to figure out, read between the lines.
I
She
just
might
feel
have meant
like
this. Like,
I just
You would
the
hope
reason-
the things that we are hoping. We're hoping that women are beautiful. Women are strong. There's other great qualities about a woman that you could present to a man that would make you that make a man chase you and love you forever. I don't want women to just only use their bodies as examples for keeping a man in a relationship.
So why, after she made the comment, or multiple women make the comment about they're after the money, why don't you ask them, well, what are you providing for that man? What is he
We
getting
do.
in
We
return?
do ask that.
I never see that. I just see
You
him
gotta
come
start
out
watching
and
the
part
clips.
his lips.
Watch
No,
that
I
episode.
watched the whole video.
I've said it to her.
in
That same girl.
episode.
Yeah.
In that same episode, we
We
said
asked
that-
her,
we
yeah,
asked
what
her,
did
like,
you
you know what
bring?
I'm
And then
saying?
it
Like,
was another episode where you were talking about how Sukiana talked about how women are selling their vaginas, every woman sold their vagina, da. And then these two girls on the couch, and one girl parted her lips like, I don't know, and she said, oh, well, men pay for pussy anyway because they, they take you on dates with the hope of having sex with you. And then you said, well, if that's the case, then wouldn't that make you, a prostitute?
what's the definition of a prostitute?
It's exchange, sex for money. But the problem when you said that in that video was you didn't say it in another video. See, that's why I should have. You want me to tell you which episode?
Go ahead. Episode 85.
ahead.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
But if real up,
No,
you
yeah.
did say in another video, like, oh, well, a woman was talking about like Netflix and chill as a date and men are not courting her properly. You said, well, you're not holding men to a higher standard. So you say chivalry isn't dead. Y'all not holding men to a higher standard. So which one is it, Eli? Is it chivalry is, not dead? Or is it when we do get chivalry, oh, he only paying for pussy? It's just confusing.
I go off of how women articulate themselves, and if the only thing of value that they seem that they can articulate themselves, that they could offer a man is their body, to me that is prostitution. It don't matter what, you know what I'm saying, ethnic group of women you are. The only value you have to provide a man is sex, and in order for me to get that sex, I have to spend X, Y, and Z. That is the definition of prostitution, and that's why I say it. And now dating for stability is understandable, but women are not articulating themselves for that. They usually talk about men in a finesse fashion where they trying to get as much money. Just like old girl, she said the man was providing for her so she could save her money in case of the relationship fails. That sounds like you using him for his resources. Like, you get what I'm saying? You're stripping me dry. And then again, when men go through those experiences, and now you're like, you know what? I'm never gonna do shit for a woman like that again. Cause y'all trying to normalize using a man for his resources, sucking him dry. What City Girl says, fuck a rich nigga till he ain't one. Like, that type of shit is traumatizing. I understand it's a song, obviously, like, you know what I'm saying?
But women are living by those lyrics.
Yeah, that's traumatizing. So
got it
maybe
from
as a
somewhere.
man, if you felt like you dealt with a woman, you gave her your all, you was courting her, you was spending money on her, and she fucked the next nigga because his bag was bigger, like she said, then of course, maybe when I move on to and that's your trauma, but when I move on to the next woman, of course I'm gonna be more reserved now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because women are very materialistic. You get what I'm saying? So, and hypergamy is a thing. You get what I'm saying? So again, it's not dating for stability, because y'all don't even want to, you just had a whole episode last episode. Women don't want to get married. You know, especially in our community, they say, I'd rather be single. So again, what stability are you looking for then?
But
Like, you get what I'm saying?
okay, so once again, right? I'm not saying it wasn't you. I'm having flashbacks. You triggering me. Hold on, let me relax. All right. Hypergamy is the art of what? Marrying up, right? So you either marry someone who has a higher financial status than you, or you marry someone who has a higher social status than you, right? So I am sorry that the women that come on your platform, they're not able to articulate themselves. But they are trying to, I don't say they are, I don't know them people, but most women, all right, are trying to say that they're dating for stability. So when you talk about women wanting a man who has a bag, it's because it takes a certain type of man to earn a certain type of money. It takes a certain type of ambition, takes a certain type of character, just characters in general, being dedicated, having confidence, blah, blah, all that stuff, right? So, all those characteristics takes that man to be able to earn that kind of money. So that's what the women are going for, So for you to make that type of money, you have to, have discipline, you have to have ambition, what other skills you might need. That's the man I want to lead my household. So I don't want to speak for them, but I'm going to say in what I teach when it comes to hypergamy, that's why women are looking for a man who has money,
But every woman ain't, it sounds like entitlement, because not every woman is entitled to those caliber of men. And if you do see those men, y'all have to compete, because guess what? Other women are competing for him, because he's in the top 10% of men.
You watch episodes, they don't say that.
All ethnic groups of women want these same 10% of men, right? Across all ethnic groups. So again, if he has the bulk of options because y'all want him, y'all have to compete. And that's why I say, if y'all want to practice hypergamy, that's understandable, but not everybody is qualified for hypergamy. Sometimes you could just find a guy that makes regular average money. There's nothing wrong with that. And again, on this show,
Facts.
there's women who constantly will bash the hard-working, average working man and saying like he's not as much of a man compared to the other, the guy that's high earning, because you equate high earning with a certain sense of masculinity, a certain sense of leadership.
Yeah.
But there's quality men out here that's working hard and can still provide for his family. Like, you get him, not maybe at the level of obviously those high value men, but some women are shitting on those men because they want a certain caliber of men. That's fine. But just know that, number one, he's going to have options because he is in a small percentage. And number two, you're going to have to compete for that guy. He's not just going to come to your front door because you did a Sierra's prayer. That's not how that works. Like, you get what I'm saying?
So do you think that only men who make six figures are considered high value?
To women.
I don't.
But how do you
I don't
know that from a woman's
No,
perspective?
I don't
'Cause that's
consider.
what-
I don't
I
consider
heard him
that.
say that.
But again, when we speak to women, they tend to prioritize money. You know what I mean? When we ask them what do they want, money is always the first thing. Not loyalty. Not if he's family oriented. Not if he treats you well. It's
Yeah.
usually, well,
He's
he has to
considered.
make money,
Right.
and then everything else falls into place. So again, I don't think that's the only qualification. But there are some.
I
women
don't
who-
think just because you make six figures that make you a high value man, because like you see Mexican women all the time, their men working on building roofs and they're making the bare minimum, probably even have their papers, and that woman is submissive to him. And that's still her being hypergamous in her own way, because she's looking at it like, all right, he's doing more than whatever I had selected that I could have had before. You know what I'm saying? Or he's still providing something, and she looks at him as high value because he's providing something. So it doesn't matter how much money per se you make.
But-
It matters if you're being able to.
That's a great point. But in our situation, I want to say this generation of women, I'm not just going to say black women, they tend to be delusional on what their expectation is for a man financially. You get what I'm saying? I could be making a decent amount of money, but to you, because I can provide, our home and financial stability, but I can't take you out. I can't put you on vacations. You got to put in some kind of money into the family. Now I'm less of a man. You get what I'm saying? And that's the challenging part for men. You get what I'm saying?
So, in other words, so just so I sum this up so I don't have a little bug in my ear that's like, fuck Eli. All right, so in other words, you trying to tell me, well, I'm being honest,
damn,
you
right,
know?
okay.
And when I first watched, I was like, yo, I like him. He's smart. Then you start saying something, I don't like this nigga. But, so...
I'm going to say that every now and then.
So you basically saying that the women that come on here, they're not able to explain exactly why they want a certain caliber of men, and not explain exactly what they're looking for. So it's not like you're specifically attacking black women, is what you're saying.
I mean, no, I'm not. We only interview black women, obviously. Mostly, you know what I mean? So of course it'll look that way, but I would say that to any ethnic group of women. I don't have a problem with women practicing hypergamy, but just know that not everybody's entitled to it, and you have to compete for it at the end of the day.
Well, can we say something else besides prostitutes? Because, you have a big platform and you talk about protecting black women, and you talk about being a provider and being a leader and being masculine. You have to lead by example. So when you say things like that to black women and call them a prostitute so comfortably in your chair.
I don't call them, I ask them, is that a prostitute? I asked them. I'm gonna say, yo, you a prostitute.
So you're not doing it to blatantly disrespect them.
I'm doing it to ask a question, like.
Yeah, but
it comes off very disrespectful.
Yeah, but I can't worry about other people's feelings, especially when it comes to women, because I understand that they are very emotional. So I'm not the type to walk on eggshells. That's just how I am. Just because I want to protect your feelings, and I get it.
But
sometimes it can come off harsh, but if I'm saying something, I probably mean that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to blatantly say, yo, I say on this show plenty of times, but nobody clips that I love black women and I'm going to marry a black woman. I say that almost every other show, but nobody cares about that because they feel like, because their emotions are so caught up and they get triggered like you do, and they just want to, oh, fuck Eli. Like, I don't get what he said. Like, you know what I'm saying? I know he meant that shit. Like, it's like, yo, I'm trying to prove a point. Like, you get what I'm saying? If you're only offering your body in exchange for money, compensation, that is prostitution. Like, you know what I'm saying?
In the way that
Okay.
in the way that you're saying it, but you do know that it's a lot of dusty men that get mad because they're trying to pursue a woman, and that woman's like, "Well, you have nothing to offer me. You know, you're not a provider." It's like, "Oh, you're a prostitute. You're a gold digger." It's always black women. It's just like they just automatically attack us in this day and age. You know, so that's why I'm saying just be careful with certain things you say on your platform, because there's men that's doing that and they don't understand the logic of what you're thinking. They're thinking that, oh, well, just because she asks for money or she expects something from me, she's a prostitute.
But again, you can't get caught up. There's women that will call us dusties. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I can't be like, damn, you know what? You need to, like, that's just how people are. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I've said stuff on the show 100 times and women will attack me in the comments. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is at the end of the day. It's not my job I can't make everybody happy. That's
But
just,
it's not about making anyone happy.
It
I think
is.
it's just about I'm not saying you have to have a soft delivery or you have to sugarcoat. I don't believe in sugarcoating. I think it's just and I'm not like, I don't want to like, oh, well, you said this, and I don't want to bring up things from the past, because I feel like, you know, you can judge someone before you meet them, and now meeting you, it's like, okay, it's a little bit different. But I think
they're all different.
at the same time, watching that is like it's kind of a cringe moment, because it's like, well, damn, like, if that's
Why
how
is
you
it not
feel,
cringy when she describes
I
prostitute
never
action?
said that it wasn't
You
cringy.
get what I'm saying?
I think it's just-
She's
I think it's
describing
equally
it.
as
We're just
cringy.
ripping the Band-Aid. I think black men should have the right to question. We care. When we say this shit, we're not saying this shit to embarrass you.
But I guess that's
we're
thing.
questioning, why do you feel comfortable using your body as leverage in a relationship?
And you know what's crazy? I'm not disagreeing with you. I agree that sometimes, even again, some of the women, I think that's why she brought it up in the first place, is that the way that they're delivering it isn't
It's
necessarily the best.
horrible.
I think there's maybe a disconnected communication where it's just like, if he don't got that bread, if he not spending it, then I don't want it. And then y'all are like, well, that's
it's not a disconnect. That's how
but
they feel.
no, but what I'm saying, but again,
Y'all
so I think
y'all try to think for them.
I,
Yeah.
no, I'm not thinking for
Like,
anybody. I guess
That's
this is
how
what
they
my
should
thing
be
is.
talking,
I
though.
think everybody has to be softer in delivery. I think we're so quick to like go against each other and so quick to to go head to head, rather than just seeing someone's perspective, dig a little deeper sometimes.
I'm gonna
so
tell
rather so I guess to me, asking a woman if you think that's prostitution, that doesn't dig deeper into why she feels that way. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's like, this is I don't want to say it's an interview, but it's a place where people can talk. They get to the deeper meaning of things, why they feel a certain type of way. So when you're just like, oh, well, don't you think that's prostitution? Of course, if a woman gonna take that like, well, damn, is that
she
what
could
he's calling
articulate
me?
herself
So
and
now,
like, no,
now that's when people start to get riled up, and I think it's sometimes
And
it's
black
counterproductive.
women hear it a lot. Black women
It's
hear that a lot.
counterproductive.
You made a point. You know, I read an article about, you know, obviously the state of inflation in the last couple of years. You know, both men and women have to both actively provide both incomes. That's across all ethnic groups. You get what I'm saying? You just said about the Mexican. I see a lot of Mexican women out here working as well to contribute to their significant other's life. I see Hispanic women working at the restaurants, you know what I mean, providing an income for their family. Indian women do the same. Women of other ethnic groups also are working just as much. I think sometimes black women specifically think it's only every other man can provide 100% outright for their women, when those women are working too. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like,
so you think black women get in relationships and when they say, oh, we want a man that provide, we don't work? Or we don't use our money? I mean,
You know,
is
I
that
think
what's
that's
going on
kind
in
of-
the world?
It's the complaints about it.
But I guess
And
here's
rather switch us up or trade us in when another nigga got more money.
I guess here's my thing, right? And I can't speak for all women, but I can speak for the women that I know, women in my family. Again, I see women in our community. I see a lot of sisters that give people a chance. You got women that, you know, a lot of black women, and not all, but I think it's almost ingrained in our culture, in our society, where you have to be a ride or die. I don't think it's so simple where women, if they're with somebody, that they're just gonna, the minute somebody come along with more money, they drop the, you know what I'm saying? I think women do give people chances. Now, I can't speak for everybody. I think
some women that's gonna drop
and
you
you'd be
if they're better than
surprised, because
big
there
men.
are women, other races of women. I'm not saying that black women automatically assume that they, you know, if they get a man that's provided, they're just gonna quit working, because we've never really had that luxury.
Thank
If
you.
you
That's
look
what I was
at
about to
the
say.
historical, if you look at the historical context, and we were just talking about this the other day, that when they talk about the feminist movement and things like that, and women wanted to get into the workforce, that wasn't, black women didn't have nothing to do with that. That was white women leading that, because why? Black women were taking care of their
Who followed?
households. So now it's, now we're getting to a point where everybody's like a soft girl, soft life, luxury, stay-at-home girlfriend, things of that nature. There's nothing wrong with that, but still to this day, we see it on social media. Yeah, you have girls that are getting taken care of, but a lot of times we're still not the receivers of that. You see what I'm saying? So I don't think it's necessarily that, oh well, the minute I got a man with a job, that I'm just gonna drop what I'm doing. Of course everybody has to work at the end of the day. Even if you're a stay-at-home girlfriend, you're not just gonna sit at home all day and
That's a
just
job.
it's even if you have children, it's still a job regardless. And again, that's women don't really have that's not really negotiable, right? Most men would assume that if you're going to enter a relationship with a woman and you were to be serious, have children, things of that she would be the one that takes care of the home. So why is it that she would then have to be able to take care of the home? That's a lot of work. On top of having to go and now I have to pay for half of the rent. Now, I'm not saying that you can't contribute at all, but at the same time, it's kind of like, don't you think that
So that's what I was about to say.
It's an emotional labor that can be very draining.
Women are known to take care of the house, but in reality, if you've been in relationships, I'm pretty sure you guys have. As a man, I'm in a relationship, and my woman doesn't do all the cleaning. I do the laundry, I cook, I do all that shit. So just because women are known to do that, it's just like, well, I don't have to always cook and clean. I'm gonna say this because in my experience, my woman, she may say that, but she know deep down she ain't fucking cooking and cleaning every day.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? I'm doing that shit too. But women are very vocal on, they don't mention what a man do, because it's only if he's not providing, he's not doing shit. Men are fixing shit, repairing shit in the house, paying bills and other shit too.
But I guess here's my thing. How many modern men do we know that can actually go and have those skills? Because I grew up in a 2-family home, right? And I know this is kind of the topic because we're talking about, different races, and I feel like it's important to talk about it. My father's white. My mom's black. My mom was a stay-at-home mom for a certain amount of time because she raised us in the home. We were homeschooled, things of that nature. So I've seen it from both sides, Now, I think What? Sorry. I know. Sorry, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
So yeah, I think sometimes we when we talk about other races, I think I'm not saying that I have the license to speak on it, but seeing it from that side of my family, I could say that they do expect their women to be able to do a majority of the housework. Not a lot of men of other races not doing stuff like that. I'm not saying that they're not out there, but I think so I think that's why women of other races tend to be like, all right, well, he has to provide 100%. A lot of them do. So even if they work, that's like they're like hobby money. A lot of them work just because they don't want to be in the house all the time, And again, I know it's not everybody's circumstance.
We literally had Chinese Kitty here, and she said, whether a man provides or not and pay all the bills, she shouldn't be expected to feed that man. So,
but that's what I'm saying. That's why I say it's
women
hobby
are being
money.
so vocal, and instead of women holding that woman accountable, y'all just like, yes, you ain't no slave.
But
you get what I'm saying? That shit is why we have these conversations.
Okay. You know there's 2 different type of women in the world, right? And that's why when I was about to say something about, like her having to split bills with you and working 9 to 5, and then also having to come home and clean. It's like, well, can you come home and clean and cook too? So when you use that example about your girlfriend, that's a perfect example. But it's a lot of men, modern men too, that don't think that that's the case. It's like, all right, you work.
I don't think that's true either.
No, it is a lot of them that think that we are supposed to be their maids. We go and work 9 to 5, and then we come home, we give you money, and then we still gotta cook, clean, all that stuff, and take care of your kids. It's like, well, when do you add value? When do you lighten up the load for us? Like, damn, like that's a lot. It happens.
If a real man is still expecting his woman to help him with the bills financially, is also understanding that he would have to help her in the house.
And see, here's my thing. I think a lot of times, I'm sorry.
No, continue.
I think sometimes we're so quick to be like, oh, well, this is what I'm supposed to do, and this is what you're supposed to do. I understand certain things are for certain roles, and defined roles, fine. If that works for you, fine. And I think sometimes, like, they say, like, those are the roles of a traditional relationship. However, I think, what's wrong with being able to, like, come and help out? I think here's my, like, why shouldn't you as a man be able to be like, all right, you know what, like, we have to get fed, right? I don't feel like that's, like, anybody's necessarily defined job. Like, to me, I just feel like, when we talk about modern...
But providing is just generally pointed towards man, right?
Right. But what I'm saying is, so if a woman has to pay her part, then why should it be looked at? I just think everybody's relationship dynamic is different. You can't look at it and be like, oh, this could. That's why I think a lot of times people are influenced by like social media, things of that nature, where they look at it and they're like, see, well, this is how it's supposed to be, and you're supposed to be this way because it's this person's getting it. And it's like, if that works for them, that works for them. You have to see what works for you. And
that's like I said, that's true. But again,
yeah.
when we were being realistic, you know, especially in our community, we always want to look at the white community and say, well, those men are taking care of their women. That's not even 100% true. They are going to have the average income for a white man in America is $52,000. Where in America you could go, I mean, obviously it's in the rural states and stuff like that, but in New York, like, you know, you making $100K in New York is equivalent to
they helping out.
36,000. Like, that ain't shit. Like, you get what I'm saying? So again, these other ethnic groups, maybe they're not as vocal because we understand that Black women are very vocal, but these other women are contributing to, and it's not, and they're not looking at it as I'm contributing to my man. They're looking at it as I'm contributing to our family. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm working and I'm paying half, but I'm ultimately helping our family so we could be, because we need to. It's the Western society.
I could agree, but I feel like I disagree. I agree, but I can disagree because when you really have been around people of other races and you see how they.
How often have you ever seen like Mexican women on the side of the road selling flowers?
Of course, but that's not everybody's circumstance.
And they're still going home cooking and cleaning.
Yeah, but guess what? A lot of if you really want to talk about it, a lot of them live with multi-generational households. So it's not just mom, dad, and wife. That's like an American thing specifically. When you have people of other cultures, Caribbean people from South America, things like that, a lot of people, grandma lived there, grandpa lived there, their family, you know, auntie, sister, you know, there's a lot more people in the house. So now there's a lot more people involved. Certain things are taken care of. If you have, I know people who grandma sit at home every day, everybody else goes to work, and grandma take care of the you know, the grandkids, make sure the house clean, things like that. But guess what? Grandma don't have to go outside and work, you know? And I know it's like...
Yeah, but again...
I see them on the side of the road with their kids.
With their kids on their back,
still
backpacks.
Working.
Yeah, but guess what? Don't you think that if they had the option to have different, that they would have different?
No, they
you think that they want to take their kids out there and
do that? They understand family.
That?
And that's the biggest thing. Like you said, their grandmothers or grandparents is home taking care of the kids. Okay, well, now I don't have to pay daycare. So now we could both go work, you know, both the mother and the woman and the man could go work and bring in two incomes to support the family, because we have that family at home that can be that care provider. Like, you get what I'm saying? So these other people know like family dynamic. We unfortunately have lost that somewhere down the line. Like, I mean,
I feel like it's nothing wrong. I don't even know how we got on 50-50, but I feel like it's nothing wrong. I hate this conversation, but I feel like there's nothing wrong with going 50-50 with a man if that's what you choose to do. But just understand, if y'all do that and that's y'all relationship, and that means you have to do what him and his girlfriend do. Some days he might cook, some days he might clean, vice versa, or some days he might order something. Then it's 50-50 all the way around. But in relationships in general, it's going to be 50-50 when y'all live together. It can be either he pays, you know, the mortgage and you pay the little bills or whatever. That's still you doing 50-50. Right. It could be either him taking care of all the bills and you stay home, you cook and you clean, you take care of kids. That's still 50-50. Right. You know, but I just feel like, you know, even the example you use with the them being on the side of women being on the side of the road with the kids, just like, I don't want it to come to a point where it's always like Black women just have to struggle. Like, we just got to put everything on our back.
You're missing the point.
So let's not use that example.
You keep missing the point. We keep trying to like emphasize family and what it takes to build generational. Black people in America don't really have that luxury of having generational wealth.
I agree.
Like, we all can't make $200,000 a year. Like, you get that doesn't mean I'm less worthy of a Black woman. Like, you know what I mean? That doesn't mean I can't. But this is what we're trying to articulate. And I get the 50-50 concept. But again, nobody really has that luxury like that to be able to stay at home and pay for their woman to stay at home and do X, Y, and Z. And then even when we're doing that, the women, we're still being met back. Some men are still being met with pushback. Oh, I'm not your slave. I'm not my grand. Like, we're still, even though those men are doing that, we're still getting pushback from women talking about, I shouldn't have to do this. Like, you get what I'm saying? So again, men want to know, what are they getting in return? Because when you get married, you know, there's a lot of men in sexless marriages. So clearly we're not getting as much sex as we used to. You know what I mean? We're probably stressed out more than we used to.
Have you ever considered, because I think sometimes when we look and we like reminisce on like, oh, well, I look at my grandmother marriage or my aunties and, you know, from back then and how they were, and you know, he took care of her and she was a
Yeah,
good
no choice,
stay-at-home
yeah.
wife, things like that. I think a lot of times we don't realize like people still had problems.
Right.
You know, men still cheated, women still, but I think sometimes we kind of forget that, and I think this is kind of what it leads up to. I think sometimes that we don't look at how women were treated. I think we just look at the surface of it and we don't necessarily look and think like that most women weren't able to have bank accounts until like the 70s,
Right.
something like that. So for a long time, like women didn't have certain rights, they didn't have certain capabilities. It was hard to go out into the workforce and get a job, or if you were, you were making less than a man.
This is what feminism has been about. You get what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Women going into workforce, and now it's about women being superior to men because
Right.
that's what some feminists
Well-
think. Is this what women truly desire, to go into the workforce and work just like men?
Hell
work 80-hour
no. Who
weeks?
want to do that?
So
I think it
again,
But that's
depends.
your
y'all
fault.
have
Everybody
worked,
has
y'all have
different
fought so
goals.
hard to make your
Who
own
is
money.
y'all?
Women.
Women
I-
and black women specifically because,
Mhm.
like you said, all black women know that feminism was for the white woman.
Yeah.
The fact that black women are the front runners for feminism nowadays is
Yeah.
an issue. Like
The
that's an issue.
independent black woman.
Thank you. That's what I'm
But
saying.
that's a lot of it.
Black
But
women.
see, again, when I
No.
talk about things coming from a place of hurt, I think when you have older generations, right, and they've dealt with financial abuse, physical abuse from their husbands, things like that. Now, if they stay married or if they divorce or whatever the case, now they're gonna look at the younger generations and tell you, always have your own stuff. You don't need nothing from no man,
Wounded.
because
Wounded.
they've been through
That's-
it in a
that's-
position where they feel
But that's
like
the curse, because me as a young man growing up, I shouldn't have to be held responsible for what the nigga did to your mother. You get what I'm
right,
saying?
but at
Like,
the same time, I think it's just one of those mentalities, and I don't think you can say that, because I've heard it. I have uncles, I have grandfathers, where they turn around and, oh, these women, they only gonna use you for this, and don't trust no bitch. They've been talking about can't trust no bitch from the fucking 90s. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's just kind of like,
And women been talking about, hypergamy forever, but especially black women. Ain't nothing going on but the rent. They've been talking like that for a long time. It's not just like it's just now happening.
So what is the outcome that y'all women truly want to desire? Because obviously y'all want the same rights as men. Y'all want to work just like men.
but nobody.
saying
But that's
that.
not
No,
every.
no,
but
but I'm
the thing
asking-
is, I don't think
a
that's-
majority does.
I'm just asking a
That's
question.
not everybody. I think
Ideally, what is the outcome that y'all want in modern relationships nowadays? I'm just curious.
Everybody is different, Eli, and that's the whole point of like one of the reasons why I want to come on here is that not all black women are strong, independent women. Not all of us want to work 9 to 5. Not all of us
but
want to carry on
I'm
their
genuinely
back.
asking.
Well, if I
it was up to
if I
you-
could have it my
Okay.
way, I'd rather be a housewife. To be honest with you, I'll have my podcast online, have a little money coming in, but I don't want to work. Like, not actually clock into a shift. I don't want to do that.
Okay, and
That's
that's
what
the
I
same for
have.
y'all as well, right?
I think
so you be-
Kind of for me, because it's more of I want to own my own business,
Mm.
right? Because what I do for work, I work with animals, so for me, it's more of a I want to be able, I don't want to have a boss. That's for me, but I can't have that right now because I'm not in a position to be where I can stay home and he can be like, oh, I'll pay for that for you. I'll do this for you. I can't do that because it's not plausible. So for me, if I could, I would have him, do all the things that I want him to do for me, and then be like, okay, well then I can step in and then I can help you and take care of our household like that.
So you doing 50-50, or you doing him pay for everything, you pay for shit, or you doing
or you be able to just focus on your business.
Yeah, which
while
one
he
you
does
do?
I want
everything
him to I want to focus on myself.
else.
I want him to help me focus on myself.
that shit is.
But
What
here's
nigga
the
in a
thing,
sign up for
relationship
that.
that want to focus on yourself?
No,
No,
but she's
I wanna
saying
focus on my
her
business.
She wants to be able. She
So
wants
you want
someone
him
that
to
can
work
take-
and
So
pay all the
a
bills
nigga
that
gotta
you want
wait
your
for all
business?
that. So
What do you
what?
But she's
What are
willing
you
to put
talking
her
about?
money into her money from her business into the household. So you still kind of doing 50-50, or you would be doing he pays the big bills and you pay the little
Exactly.
bills.
But there's
you
nothing
know?
wrong. I mean,
There's nothing wrong with
There's
that.
nothing wrong with with contributing. I think for me, like, I don't know. I don't want to I don't like to talk about too
Speak your
personal
truth.
things, but
no,
I was
don't talk about personal shit.
yeah.
I'm going.
Well, no, I don't. You think if I spoke on a little bit of the.
It's your business. And
Okay, I'm not gonna go into detail too much.
153,000 people watching.
Well, that's their business.
I
I
was
was
yours.
not to get too much into it, but I was a stay-at-home. I guess you could say I was a stay-at-home wife for a little while. I was in a relationship. we weren't legally married, but we were together for
Right.
a long time, for a few years. And it wasn't, I was working when we met. I was continuing to work. Pandemic came, I lost my job. I wasn't required to go back to work. I could pretty much just like be in the house, you know, things like that. I didn't really have to think about it too much. Now for me, I decided to leave that relationship because I felt like there was nothing wrong necessarily with it, but I felt like I wasn't growing in it, in the sense that for me, my goals aren't necessarily to be a housewife. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I don't necessarily see myself having children. So now I think everybody's different. I'm not against having kids, but at this point in my life right now, I don't see myself being a mom and just being stuck in the house. I have things that I want to achieve. So I don't think just because
Did you communicate that before y'all got into a relationship? Like,
yes.
hey, like I don't want
yeah, and
Okay.
again, there was a bit of an age gap there.
Right.
So I think they were at a certain point in their life where they wanted something different from what I wanted. And that's okay. And we left it off at a mutual, respectful, you know, that was it. Like, but at the same time, I think sometimes you start to learn more about yourself as time progresses in relationships. I don't think that's a bad thing. So for me, I started to realize, like, yeah, it's nice to be able to not have to think about bills or have to worry about money or have to, you know, I don't have to get up and grind every day if I don't want to. And it did teach me to be, I could say that more than anything, that relationship taught me to be softer. It taught me to be to be able to receive from somebody, you know, and be able to, and I guess you can kind of say not learn, but you know what it was to be submissive in a relationship and how that dynamic is. So to me, again, it's nice, but that to me, I felt like, okay, well, eventually, like, where am I going with this? You know, am I gonna do this for the rest of my life? Am I just gonna have a child and just settle down?
that's nothing you
and worry
never
about
just
that?
I feel like that's an easy
Well,
communication.
Yeah, so why
like,
you think you
What do you
couldn't grow?
mean?
Why you think you couldn't grow in the relationship?
like, hey babe, I feel like I'm not growing, like, you know.
Because I think, well, I ended up going overseas. I ended up moving out of the country for a little while. And once I got there, I was living in the Middle East, and if you know anything about Middle Eastern culture, women are very educated, but a lot of them are married and housewives and things of that nature. So you're kind of, not that you're expected to do that, but you're just kind of,
And they have less rights over there as well.
not necessarily.
Women in the Middle East?
Yes. Depends on what country you're in. Because the country I was in, I never felt safer.
Never
Safer
felt
than
what?
America.
Oh, safer. Oh,
It's safer. I wasn't forced to cover up. I wasn't forced to do anything. You
And you
know?
was able to work and do all that.
Well,
too?
I didn't have
You were able to have a
to.
license and you could drive and stuff.
Well, I
like
could,
that?
but I didn't have to. For
Okay.
what? I had a driver, you know? So it was like, you know, again, it was nice. But once I got there, I realized, and even when I was in the United States before I left, I was like, okay, like, I started to go to school for a while. Then I just started to realize, like, for me, I don't think I could just be limited to just being a housewife. And I think, again, for me, everyone has different things. So you can't just say, oh, all women want to be housewives or all women don't want to work.
Question:
Yeah.
Did you feel more comfortable because you felt like he was more financially stable, where you didn't have to do as much, where it wasn't, you didn't have to go out your way or do much to keep your place in a relationship? Because you say you got softer, you changed, you realized how to submit. Was that because of his financial status?
I don't think financial status, because again, like you were saying, like, I wouldn't say he was like filthy rich, but he was a provider and he had his priorities straight, and I was his priority. And to me, I think, yeah, there was an aspect of it that, okay, but it wasn't that alone. It was the way that I was treated. I was respected. And I think a lot of times, sometimes, you know, when we talk about the discussions of age gaps, women are like, you know, there's always like, people have certain conflicting views where they feel like, oh, well, if you're with an older man, he just wants to control and manipulate you. And then some men feel like, oh, well, if you're with a younger woman, she just wants you for your money. I don't think necessarily that's the case. And I think a lot of young women would actually benefit from those type of relationships, because you can learn something. I learned a lot about myself during that time.
So a lot of people say you had a good man, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll never take that away.
And you left this good man. So what are you hoping to find? Like, because obviously the next person you date gonna have to meet that standard, you know?
Yeah, but at the same time, I think for more than anything, it was to find myself. And the thing is when I expressed my concerns about it, they understood exactly where I was coming from. I think you meet people for a time and a season. Not everything's meant to last forever. I think sometimes you can people come into your life for a reason. They teach you things about yourself. I take everything as a lesson. I learned lessons. I learned things about myself. It opened things up. And it's funny because we met around that time of my relationship. And it just kind of, to me, I felt like that was like, I don't want to say like divine intervention or anything like that, but I feel like that was meant to happen. We had that relationship for a reason. And
what I gotta do with this?
anyway, so no, so I just feel like yeah, so I think that moving forward, I don't know. I'm getting off track a little bit.
In your future, would you prefer it to be 50-50 or him take care of everything? Like, it sounds like
I think
you didn't like the fact that you weren't like working. That's what it sounds like.
Because it's not about working, but to me, I just felt like sometimes when you're in those type of relationships, when you're in that role, that's just like all they want you to that's all they want you to do. And to me, I just didn't want to do it anymore.
Do you think that when you get with an older man, maybe like he would stunt your growth because of the fact that y'all in two different positions in life? It's kind of like stealing your youth in a weird way. It's like the things that, you know, you're in your 20s, you might still feel a need to go to the hookah lounge, and you might still look at the young dudes and want a club. So was that the part that you was missing, or were you missing the part of like overall, like, you know, working, going to school, figuring out what you wanted out of life?
I think I mean, I wouldn't say being clubbing and going out and stuff like that, but just being able to have like certain freedoms. You know, I think you know, when somebody looks at you as their wife, or you're with someone that
more. So as we heard, like, you felt like it wasn't most women, but 2 out of the 3 of y'all would rather work and not be a housewife.
If
but again, I think that's this.
If I want to, I want to work. If I want to,
yeah, I think.
I mean, I don't think men have an issue with that in general, but I'm just saying.
They don't.
But her statement was that, you know, women don't want to work, and you guys want the option to work. You get what I'm saying? So that's just my whole point.
It's a majority of women that are like that.
Because majority of women, and a lot of women say they want to put money in because they don't want to feel like a man have leverage on them. But it's not about putting money in it.
How I see it is
I've heard women tell me this.
Right, but here's my thing, right? When I got into that relationship, I was financially stable when we met, and I was, you know, like I still had my own money throughout. Again, when I met, I was working for a while. So to me, it was kind of like, you know, I don't think I want it to be where it's not an obligation where, oh, well, bitch, rent on the first, so I hope you have your half. Right. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to, like, all right, if I want to take a couple weeks off and I want to be able to do this and I want to start a new venture, that I can do that without being required.
That's not realistic.
How is that not realistic?
Not in New York.
Because
but we're not talking about New York.
I'm not the queen of England, but still at the same time, don't want to do the traditional things that a man would want in return. But again, I was doing those traditional things. But you didn't want to. That's the thing. But my thing is, we want a woman that's embracing that part and happy to fulfill that for a man. And just as well as we want to provide and treat you like the queen, but you want to be treated like the queen, but still do what you want to do in between.
But here's my thing, right? And maybe you're misinterpreting what I'm saying to you, because at the same time, when I did it with a smile. I was happy to do it.
But you wasn't.
But it got to a point where I decided.
But you wasn't.
No, but why are you cutting me off? Listen, what I'm saying. I don't care about that. Listen, to me, this is how I see it, right? I got to the point where I said, okay, I'm here. It's not really working out. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I was just like, all right, well, I don't want to do it no more. I'm just going to stop whatever I'm doing. I'm going to just let him keep paying the bills, and I'm going to just lay up under him. The minute I realized, you know what, I want something different. I'm not even talking about men. It's not like I was like, oh, well, you know, I'm about to just jump ship and go jump to the next person. You know what I'm saying? To me, it was like, I want to be able to figure things out for myself for once. I don't want to have to just feel like.
Your story is like, it sounds like most women, when they talk about how a man cheated on them, that's why they broke up with them, whatever the case is. You essentially left a man that was a provider, which every woman wants nowadays, and you were happy. So it wasn't like you was unhappy.
But being overseas is, once you're overseas too, you realize how life is a little bit different. So for me, more than anything, I wanted to come home. So that's kind of where we went our separate ways. But at the same time.
So after all of that, I'm gonna say after all of that, you just woke up one day and said, you know what, I want to come home.
No,
that's
not.
Nigga.
No, it doesn't work like that. No, because nothing happens overnight. You don't just.
So if y'all lived here, do you think y'all would still be together?
It's possible. I think. I mean, I can't say because, you know, that was the past.
Listen,
decisions you make in the moment.
Let me get to this next topic real quick. What can because we having this conversation. What can a man provide a woman? Or provide an independent woman that don't need no man? Obviously, we hear that phrase a lot. What do y'all think a man can provide that type of woman?
Didn't we kind of
femininity
question?
A man can provide
What?
femininity.
That's what he could provide
He-
for.
he-
Then we kind of already answered this question though.
No, I need a specific answer.
No,
like,
but-
I gave you an
saying,
answer.
but-
I mean, you want a man to provide femininity?
If you wait, say it again. Say the question again.
I'm saying, what can a man provide a woman, an
Mhm.
independent woman that don't need no man?
Some femininity, because she masculine as hell, or she wounded. He could provide her some femininity, and they gonna work out.
Sound like she didn't want a woman. Like,
No, because women got it's too much.
Okay.
So
So, I
maybe
mean,
he
if
could
we
provide her,
answer
like,
that
we already-
question, then you could.
I
give
feel
us
like we
a-
already answered that question
Okay.
because, like, we were just talking about
Okay,
women.
but so what
like,
can a man provide
about
a woman
one
that
about?
don't need a man? Like,
But again, I'm not that
Love.
kind of woman.
I'm,
So
no, but I'm asking.
I mean, I
I'm
think
asking in
I guess
general.
here's my thing. If you have a
Dick.
woman who feels like they don't need no man,
Mm.
then again, that's like what she calls wounded feminine. They're clearly like they're operating in their hurt, right? Because clearly the people that they needed to show up for them weren't showing up for them.
Basically,
So-
what I'm trying
So
to.
I think more than anything, being able to lighten a woman's load, and whether that be mentally, whether that be offering advice, being able to help them better their situation. Not everything's financial, but I feel like this is all kind of like
He gonna offer some
same
femininity. He
topic.
gonna be loving. He gonna be nurturing. He
He
gonna,
gonna
be
have all the
supportive.
time.
He gonna have all the time in the world, girl, and he gonna treat you. He gonna teach
I-
you how to love while
No.
you teach him how to go out there and hustle.
them,
crazy.
them women don't want a man that don't got no job, so
We
he not
did
gonna be
do it,
able to be there
Right,
and do all them things for you.
No, I only asked this question because
Mhm.
this is often what we hear from women.
Yeah.
So we just want to know, as men, what can we provide those type of women who spew that rhetoric? And you said feminine energy. You said dick. You said
Oh my god.
emotional.
No, I feel like
lighten the load.
Like- lighten the load,
Yeah,
okay.
I think if that's somebody that you feel like you want to take on as a partner, then
Well,
again, not everything's and people aren't cookie cutter. Not everything is one size fits all. So I don't think you can just be like, oh well, she says she independent. Everybody has a reason for why they feel a certain way about things. Some people genuinely, like, I don't know. Have you ever considered that some people genuinely aren't interested in relationships? Some people genuinely don't want to be with nobody. So I think sometimes men don't necessarily understand that when they approach a woman, and some women are solely focused on their career. Some women balance it. Some women, like.
But most of the time, women who scream out, "I'm an independent woman, I don't need a man," or they're solely focused on your career, that's masculine energy. Those are all
Right.
masculine traits. You know
And
what I'm
that goes
saying?
back to the
So-
generational curses.
But that's what I'm
yeah,
saying,
that part.
it's-
But what I'm saying is, he said, what can a man offer her, or what can she benefit from that guy? If she's masculine, he gonna have to be feminine in order for them to work. He's gonna have to
Right.
teach her how to love and nurture and
But a lot of women say that majority of the men is feminine out here. So why the fuck is nobody in no successful relationship? Why is it everybody still single? So all these men are feminine, all these women are masculine, but they still ain't working.
They single,
So
yeah.
we saying women are the root of all the problems? Because
Mhm.
whether you're feminine or you're masculine, the shit just ain't working for y'all.
Well, I think too, a lot of reason why a lot of people are single or their relationship isn't working, because you ever heard like right person, wrong time? Like most of the men who consider themselves high value,
Mhm.
they're not even looking for a relationship. Like if
True.
it stumbles across, yeah, but he's usually working, trying to better himself. He's in the gym. He really don't have time. Like it sounds good, but yeah. And then women who are high value, they don't have time for that either. Sometimes, it's like if we bump across each other at the bar, that's cool. But most of the time, those women are still like they either in the gym working.
What you
blah,
gonna
blah,
say
blah.
about the regular average Joe and Jane walking up and across for each other, still expecting you to be a high value person when you're trying to approach them? And I'm not saying you should be just dating a bum person. You get what I'm saying? But some people could, have some kind of financial stability and have potential at the same time. I think we eliminate those people and ignore them, where you could have a successful relationship with somebody that's making
Average.
But it's
average
not
amount.
always about money, Jay. Sometimes people get in relationships and it's like, okay, I might be masculine, he feminine. We even each other out, but this nigga need to heal. He needs to see a therapist. He got some stuff with him, or I got some, and we just clash like that. It's people break up for other reasons.
I feel like men are willing to compromise when it comes to that. Not all, but in a majority, like women will say, "Oh, I need men to be emotionally free and blah blah blah," but still ready to curve that man any chance they get. Where men, we tend to try to work with women that has these issues. We try to show women that real men, and I'm talking about that. We try to heal you. We try to go change you from being that independent mindset, but we still got to.
Not me.
I mean, probably not you,
No, I get what you're saying.
But men been doing this for the beginning of time. You get what I'm saying? Like the men that has been paying women bills from the traditional days from back in the day. So they had to do everything that a man had to do.
And it usually comes back to finances because, like you said, women are hypergamous by nature. So in order for you to get the woman that you want, sometimes you obviously gonna have to be above her in some kind of way. Because women don't want nobody on their level or lower most of the time.
But it don't have to be finances for you to be above her in some type of way. You know, if you look at
we
it
talking
as
about most now.
But hypergamy is all it depends on the person or what she might think is superior to her. You know,
And what do most women think about?
Once again, like I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna answer him.
You can ignore that question, but we don't know his money.
But I'm saying hypergamy doesn't always have to be. But it like finances for her to feel like you are superior to her or she looks up to you. You know, it could be a girl coming out of the hood, but you nerdy and she feel like, yo, you got a degree. You know what I mean? You might not have it yet, but I like the fact that he's smart. I think he's smarter than me. So in my mind, that may be dating up. You know,
so the girl coming out of her dating a nerdy, you know that had never happened in life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, they ain't looking for no nerdy niggas. Like,
I am.
You don't know
And
that.
if they are,
again,
it's because they know that one day he gonna own fucking Google or some shit. Like
they're not with him for that journey.
What about
They trying to meet him at the finish line. Most women want to meet men at the finish line.
But here's my thing. Everybody, you're saying that you want a woman that's in her feminine, but are you there? Are you not you? But are men there
at the finish
That's
line?
what I'm saying. Men
You
don't
should
want to
be
see
naturally feminine.
But here's my thing. No, but what I'm saying is it's for everybody. But everybody has a feminine journey. Everybody has a journey.
should
You
be
see
at the
what I'm saying?
beginning.
Yeah.
So you can't.
That's not
You
how it
can't expect a
works.
woman to just be automatically every aspect of her is put together. I'm not saying.
Well, then she
And
shouldn't
I
be
think-
dating.
But here's my thing. So
Right.
if a man doesn't have money, should he be dating?
Nope.
He shouldn't be down.
Okay, so then you can't
But-
say, oh, well,
but
women
it's not
don't want to
about
stick it out with an
finances, right?
average dude.
But I was about
But
to
the thing
explain
is-
another example how it wasn't about finances, but y'all wouldn't talk about
But we
that.
talk, we want to talk about the majority. Like we
'Cause it's like,
understand.
I think-
We understand there's some cases where it's not about finances. We understand that. But the majority of cases, a man's gonna have to make more than the woman.
Divorces, the top 3 reasons for divorces is financial reasons. It ain't because the woman lost her job. It's because the man lost his job. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, or money mishandling. Things happen
What,
in marriage.
women stealing?
Again, I'm
Problem,
not there for
gambling
every
problem.
marriage that exists, so I can't speak on it. I guess my thing is, you know what I think it is? I think a lot of men equate beauty and looks to femininity and being able to speak and just accept whatever. And then if
and
a
they
woman,
expect you to shut up.
yeah, I
Nope.
really think that's what it is. Because nowadays, when nobody else talks about this type of stuff.
I think
Everybody plays their position.
I
and-
think independent women have a problem with dealing with teamwork or listening to somebody else. They're so independent, stuck in their
it
ways.
defeats the purpose.
Yeah, like
But
it's my way. It's been my way. I don't know how to change that. That's
right. So that's
most
my
women
thing.
issue.
So if that to you is not feminine, right? Then are you willing to be there for that journey, just like how a woman should be there for a man's journey?
No, I'm not.
So
I'm
why
not.
is it
Okay.
wrong when a woman ain't trying to stick it out with you when you bummy?
Because
You
you
wanna
talking
finish
about
product
something
anyway.
that is naturally in women. For
Right,
them
but
to
what
do-
I'm saying is
for
not
that
everybody
behavior
has
to-
every
Black
aspect.
women
not-
have been damaged so much that it's not going to
Neither.
just
So
come out.
The black family
black
has
men
been
going through
damaged.
stuff too.
Yeah, yeah, I
we
think
can't
it's all
sit
about
here
y'all,
and
like-
nobody.
No.
I'm not saying you have to empathize or sympathize for me, but we don't get that fucking that
Luxury.
That,
We
But
don't
here's
have
my
that
But
thing.
that's what you
So-
want though. You want her to have the luxury to understand that right now you're a little messed up and because you know
I'm not messed up. I'm just not.
I'm just
We're
not.
not
I'm
talking
not
about
rich.
you, though.
I'm not
Yeah,
rich.
but that's what I'm
Like,
saying. You're not. You want her to.
I'm
dug out
not
with
to
you
what
when you're
her
not-
standard may have be. Like
Right,
maybe
so if
at
she
that
has
time.
If she
standard, you
ain't
have
to
a
what your
standard, yeah.
standard may have been when it comes to femininity, man, she's still working on it.
I'm not concerned about all the other little stuff. I'm caring about how we're going to be successful as a family besides finances.
Because if I
Where
lose my
women-
job, I need to feel comfortable. That's another thing too. I need to feel comfortable knowing that if another COVID happened and I get laid off, I'm in tech right now, I get laid off because of AI, ChatGPT, and all this shit. I need to know that my woman is still going to respect me the same. I need to know that she's going to have my back and help me get back onto my feet so I can support our family. But a lot of times we're hearing out of
Statistics show
women's
that
mouths.
doesn't.
Out of women's mouths that, yo, nigga, if you lose your job, I'm gonna go get with the nigga with the bigger bag. Like, your love is conditional, and that conditional comes with a subscription fee. You gotta keep paying that bill. You gotta keep doing this. If you lose that shit, I might lose respect for you
I
as a
feel
man.
like love is unconditional, but relationships,
I don't believe that.
relationships and marriages are based off conditions. You know what I mean? Like it's but so
Relationships
long.
is transactional.
Y'all be
It
getting
all
married
is.
talking about for richer or for poor, but want to divorce a nigga because he lost his job. But listen,
Yeah, but here's my thing. How many men, studies have shown, I work in healthcare.
Mm.
You know how many
how many women are sick and their husbands don't come visit them, or their husbands mistreat them, or they get married, or they start dating somebody else before and their wife on their deathbed? You know what I'm saying?
You don't think women do that either? I've seen a woman
But
just say, "Oh, I'm looking for a new father for my kid."
But you know how many men I've seen that are where I work, and their wives are there every day, coming to bathe them, take care of them, do everything for them, and you got men who are yelling at their wives and mistreating them because their memory going. You know what I'm saying? So, and these are studies.
What is going?
I bet because their memory is going, because they
can't hold that against him. Like,
no, but my point is that at the end of the day, if love is unconditional, and you're supposed to be there through rich or poor, through health, and these
they got Alzheimer's and she
so,
like, yo.
no, but my point is that do you feel like somebody's in a vulnerable position, right? So if a man were to lose his job, wouldn't he be in a vulnerable position? Okay, so if his wife were to mistreat him based off that, she'd be fucked up. But when do you ever see men being like, you know what, my wife was sick and I held her down? No, they be ready to jump ship. Men, I think honestly, women can learn a lot from men. Men are very not self-involved. There's a word for it.
Selfish.
So why do women call for divorce more than men?
Finances.
I never
All right, we gotta end the show because if
Next question.
I guess what the whole point that I was trying to get at is, you feel like she should thug it out with you because you ain't rich yet. Then you're picking a black woman. You should thug it out with the fact that she might not be fully healed yet. She has everybody femininity. You know, give her grace, give her time. Like if that's how you want the same thing in return. So why you can't give her that?
I mean, somebody else can.
She's talking about something that's you gotta grow, and one is a natural.
But here's my thing: not every, but the thing is, you're saying it's natural because women are.
It is natural.
Women are born.
No, but what I'm saying is though, not every. You have to understand, certain women don't have mother figures. Some women don't have women that can teach them what it means to be a woman.
Eli say all the time.
So when you have a woman who's a little bit,
and if a man presented himself as feminine, you don't give him the luxury to change.
I didn't have a father figure.
You're not going to wait for him to become more masculine.
But how many women do you know that are in relationships with men like that? A lot. There's plenty.
I don't know.
There's plenty.
So she should heal, go on her femininity journey, and then come holla at you, right?
Yeah.
All right. So then another woman or her, she might say, you know what, Eli, get your bag up and then come holla at me, and then we just gotta be okay with it.
The difference is you're talking about something that's supposed to be natural.
But that's why I said before, it's supposed to be natural.
It's not supposed to be natural for me to be Bill Gates.
But black women been through so much that they already, it's not natural. It's natural, but at the same time they have their guard up. They're wounded. You know what I mean? When you hear these women talking about
with an X chromosome, it's natural.
But here's my thing. That's why I asked you when we first got here, what was your idea of femininity in a woman? You see what I'm saying? Because you could say, oh, well, she's not feminine. Well, what do you define as femininity? You see what I'm saying? Everybody has different ideas of what that means. It's not everything isn't.
This is why trans women is getting away with being women.
No,
because nobody can define a woman.
So you're bringing
like
up,
nobody can define a woman.
You're bringing up things. No,
we know what a woman is, just like we know what femininity is.
That's why I'm asking you.
Gay men are feminine.
Like, because now you're bringing things up that have nothing to do with it.
We're trying to move the goalpost on terminology.
No, but I'm not moving the goalpost on terminology. I asked you a direct question. I asked you, what was your idea? And well, it's just a vibe. You couldn't give me a direct answer on what that is.
Yes, it's nurturing. So then, a woman that's empathetic, a woman that's emotional, like all of those things.
Is a man who doesn't have his money and again, I'm not saying that. Oh, you gotta have $6 million before you come and fuck with me. I'm not even saying that. What I'm saying though is if you're saying that if a man, if he's down on his luck and he lost his job and he don't got it right now,
that you're in a relationship. I already proved to you that I'm capable of providing for you and our family. I'm saying when we're in a relationship and I'm down on my luck, are you going to still have the same respect for me? And are you still going to support me? Like all of those, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about meeting me off the street and I'm some bum ass nigga. I'm talking about I proved myself to you already. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? And I want that same support. This is what I'm saying. Maybe you might be saying something else, but that's what I'm referring to, specifically a relationship or a marriage. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay. What's the next question?
Let me
Wait,
get to
what did you want to say?
I forgot.
Damn.
Okay. Listen, let me get to this last question. Let me get the fuck about it. I know we in overtime and shit like that. Shout out to us. But so with all of this conversation, what is the future of relationships moving forward? Like, what is going to happen to fix these inconsistencies or the trauma? Like, how do we move forward and build better relationships, better nuclear families, and within our community? What do we have to do?
I think people need to humble themselves, man, and that's on both ends. Like you said, men need to be. If you want to be in a relationship where your woman is contributing to the household, you gotta contribute. I mean, financially you gotta contribute and help her with the workload.
Mhm.
And women need to humble themselves. If you're an average woman, you can't expect to be dating fucking Michael B. Jordan. You need to be dating somebody on your level as well. You know what I mean?
But
Everybody's
isn't that against the idea of hypergamy?
Yeah, but again,
It's called compromising.
yeah, like I said in the beginning, every woman is not entitled to that said man. Like
So
you get what I'm
dating in
saying?
your
Like,
caliber.
huh?
Dating in your caliber.
basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's impossible,
Uh-huh.
but there is a lot of women who want the same 10% of men. It just
Mhm.
ain't that many men. So of course y'all gonna have to compete.
Mhm.
Of course he's gonna have options. Of course, maybe he may or may not cheat on you. He has that luxury of having those options because he works so hard in life. So again, hypergamy is a thing, but not everybody is entitled to hypergamy because everybody just don't make that type of money.
Mhm.
Realistically, like that's within all ethnic
And
groups.
if you look at this, if you look at the other side of things, not every man is qualifying for a Rihanna or,
Yeah, I'm not-
or
like-
Bernice
Absolutely.
Burgos.
And
or
if you're
anything.
giving government assistance, a man with a regular basic job is hypergamy fee. I'm gonna
That's
let you
what
know,
I'm
like
saying.
women,
Like, it
you
don't have to
out
be
here,
six
yeah,
figures.
you don't have to be a
Exactly.
thousandaire. I mean, like
But
a
that's the
trillionaire
thing.
or whatever
Women
the
are not
fuck the
looking at
case may
these
be.
average 9-to-5 men as
Yeah.
hypergamy. They're looking at
If you
them
think
as
about
like,
it,
oh,
you
that
ain't
nigga on my
hypergamy.
level.
But they're not understanding that part. You
But
get
again,
that-
are you looking at the people who only look at so? And I think social media is like definitely one of the things because I feel like these weren't really topics that we were having. People were having these topics, but I think now like social media is kind of like magnified that. Where now when you see like rappers' girlfriends, celebrity wives, things like that, you know that you're looking at their lifestyle and you say, oh well, I have to have that. And I'm not saying that there's
Yeah.
anything wrong with
Who's
that.
saying that?
Who doesn't want that?
Men or women?
I'm saying, what do you mean?
Who's saying
Who's
that?
saying that?
I'm saying women like who feel like,
Oh,
oh,
okay.
I have to have that lifestyle. But I'm saying that's not everybody. There
It's
are
a-
a lot of
it's
girls
a
who want
majority.
regular shit. They want to be able to just, you know what I'm saying? Go out. They want
They in happy relationships. Those girls that's not doing that
but
shit,
it's not
they in happy
everybody's in,
relationships
but
right
not
now.
everybody's in relationships. But what I'm saying is like, I don't know. I feel like it's
I think that
hypergamy
hypergamy don't always have to be if he makes 6 figures. It don't have to be like that. It's as long as he's of a higher financial status or social status than you. That's what I was trying to explain
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
beginning.
I agree with you 100%.
We
I
all
think
agree with
I
you.
think you have to. Well, maybe not you, but
I
I'm saying
explained that
I
on
think
my podcast.
women have to understand that more and not just understand, accept it. You get what I'm saying? Because
Because even if
because
if you think about like back in the day, like in the hood, let's use that for example. You had the girl, maybe she was a good girl, right? But her idea of being hypergamous might be her dating the local drug dealer or the OG of the gang. That's still hypergamy. You get what I'm saying? It's a higher status than her. It doesn't always have to be 6 figures. It's whatever she values that's like, oh my God, how did I get that? You know what I mean? Look up to. Like, I could get an IT tech and he might make more money than me. It's like, you know what, bitch, I won. You see what I'm saying? It might be that. It don't always have to be 6 figures.
Yeah, we agree with you. But we hearing women say that. Cause we had a woman on the show and she said that, what can he teach me if he's not making more money than me? So I was like, yo, if he ventured out and tried different things to, succeed in life, and he could tell you how not to feel in these things, that's giving you a step ahead in whatever you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's still hypergamous in a sense because you got more knowledge of what not to do than you do.
Yes, I mean, like I said, if we're looking at it from that angle, that I totally agree. But normally, when I hear that term, it usually goes to the top percentages of men financially. You know what I mean? Which every woman universally tends to, want. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
99.9.
but where do you think they got that
definition.
idea from?
Huh?
Where you feel like women got? I don't think it was just planted in women's head one day that you just have to marry the top
No,
one.
I'm not saying
I think
anything
it's
is wrong.
human. I
Yeah.
think there's an aspect of human nature there.
Right,
I'll
yeah.
say
Yeah, I
that.
think
But I
women
also
look for the
think
best man they
I
could
think we
get.
seem to
Right.
forget that we live like this is a man's world. You know what I'm saying? So I think
I don't believe that anymore.
why do you not agree? Why do you not
Because
believe
not
that?
anymore.
women
Yeah.
control everything.
What do they
You
control?
know, I
Now,
feel
I mean,
like
there's a
that's a
reason,
very-
there's a reason.
What do they control?
It's a reason
Everything.
trans people
What
are
is
trying
everything?
to imitate femininity.
We're not
and
talking
mas-
about that.
But
What,
there's
what
a
do
reason
women
why.
control? Those are men.
There's more.
What do women? Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
let me
no,
not
I'm
say.
saying-
But
no, I'm saying
I
those are
don't
men-
want nobody coming after
No,
me. You know what
I'm
I'm
saying
saying?
those are
I gotta
men-
be mindful.
Those are
but-
men transitioning to be women for a
Right.
reason because there's women do have more privileges in society than men do.
We
What
had
do
that
you
story.
think
We had that
about
story
it?
the other day with a woman pretending to be a man for a year, whatever, end up committing
She
suicide.
can end up committing suicide.
But
yeah.
if you look at the court system, is favoring women like when it comes to divorces and child care,
Alimony,
Child
all that.
support,
But
yeah.
I guess that's my question. When you say women run things, who put those laws into place? Did women put those laws into place? Those laws have been in act for 50, 100 years. You know what I'm saying?
And them shits ain't
onward.
changing whether women.
But my point is women
women
didn't
have
create
more money
those
than men have.
laws. Women never created those laws. And
And-
guess what? There's a
but now
lot of
they're
women
using it-
who have
they're
money who have
manipulating the
had to
system
pay
with the shit
alimony
too.
to their husbands when they get a divorce. It's a thing.
You said
It's
what?
a thing. There have been.
Is it a
You,
thing?
but you ever look at
yeah.
celebrity
It's high.
women?
It's like, you know,
Yeah, but guess what? How many women think about it? If women make less money on the dollar than a man, why would she be earning more than him?
Why should a man still be paying alimony when she's married to somebody else?
That's typically that ends. That's not how it works. That's not how
or
alimony
whether
works.
they're not married, he
Alimony-
living in the house.
well,
you
that's-
still got to pay that
But
woman.
my point is
she got a whole
do you
man
know
and
how it works?
family.
Do you know
no,
do you know
I
how
should
that
be
works?
done once she got a new man. He should be paying her plans, not
But how
me.
it works is if you were married for a certain amount of time, and if you were the primary breadwinner, if your wife was in the house and you went, then of course, now I'm not disagreeing with you. I don't necessarily think that I would be upset if I had to pay and she got another man who's taking care of everything or should be taking care of everything. I still got to
And still counting my coins.
However,
Hell
at
yeah.
the same time, that's boyfriend and girlfriend isn't legal. See what I'm saying? That's not a legal.
Yeah,
that's not
but
something
that's the
that's-
reason why she's not getting married, because she wants your money.
Yeah, but
She wants to deplete a man from everything. He can now not have anything.
is this from your personal experience?
No, it's not. But
So how do you know?
because
He
I've heard
triggered.
men speak
That's
on
what
it.
I'm saying. You seem
seems a
very
little
upset.
triggered.
No, I'm not triggered. I'm speaking on the behalf of men that gets.
Do you know anybody who went through that?
Yes, I do.
How's that?
we
going?
spoke to a whole divorce attorney. Like, we understand like how the divorce court
Mhm.
works in the favor of women.
Mhm.
Just like how most things in court, you know, women could do the same crime as a man and get significantly less time than a man. Like, that's a privilege. Like, you get what I'm saying? So when I say women have certain or even more privileges than men today in society, that's a real thing. So when you say, oh, men, you know, control the world or whatever the case is, that's starting to fall, unfortunately. Like,
Women
you know what I'm
also-
saying?
Unfortunate. Why is that unfortunate?
because now the roles have reversed and y'all having to adapt
But
to those
again,
roles. Like, you know what I'm saying?
You still haven't been able to name one thing that women control. Just because people have a voice doesn't mean that they control anything.
I didn't say
We-
control. I said
we didn't-
privilege.
we
He
never
said
said
no.
that
He said women are running things.
They are.
So that's
I
what
feel
I'm
like
saying.
men-
Nobody's been
men
able
run
to
the
name.
world, but
When
women
when
let
we
them.
say running things, we just mean that y'all have a better life.
Yeah,
than we
that's
do.
what I meant by
not
that.
necessarily
But
that y'all-
again,
but
yeah.
here's my thing. This is what I think we need to do as a community. I think we need to start seeing where we can. I think we need to be in a better reconstruction, like where we need to start working towards healing as a community, as a people. Because and this is why I feel like it's important. That's why I was like kind of excited to come on here, because I wanted to be able to talk to. You know, I think it's important for us to be able to talk and kind of get to the core of things. And everything doesn't have to be an argument. Everything
No, I
doesn't
agree.
have to be a back and forth and niggas ain't shit, bitches ain't shit, money. And I understand those are important things. But I think at the core of it, we really need to start healing.
As a community.
We don't realize how, I think, and I know it's going to sound, but I feel like we don't understand how slavery has affected us. I think that definitely plays a role. Trauma stays in the DNA for 14 generations. So I think there's a lot of things that people are just passing down that they don't understand why they're doing it or why they feel that way. And a lot of people are really acting out of hurt. And I said this before, but I think we need to get to a point where we can really start having the hard-hitting questions rather than talking about 50-50, splitting bills, who's going to cook and clean and who's going to do that. I think we need to really start getting to the root of these problems. And
Honestly, I would argue and say, I think this is the first time within, you know, our history as Black people where we have been this most divided amongst each other. Because even in
I could
slavery,
agree.
we would still jump in a broom, getting
Yeah,
married.
I could agree.
Reconstruction, segregation.
Yeah.
We were
Facts.
sticking through with each
Absolutely.
other. Now we both
don't
women
see
want
the
to
value
be
in each
women want to
other.
be
Right.
dependent of men. Men, ain't no man saying I'm independent or whatever.
Yeah.
But we're so busy trying to be independent,
Yeah.
and we're not going back to the word interdependent. Like, you get what I'm saying? We
Yeah.
both
Facts.
we should both need and want each other. That's the
I
only way
agree.
we're going to get somewhere as a community. But if we keep sitting on this, I don't need you, X, Y, and Z, both men and women, we
I
ain't never
agree.
gonna get nowhere.
I
Like, you know?
absolutely agree. And I think I'm gonna stop talking. I feel like I
Agree with that though, and I do think that Black women are basically like not valued as much, and that could be a reason why. And Black men aren't either. It's just, I mean, back to what Eli was saying. Yeah, he's right.
Yeah, we're not
we
valuing each other.
don't work well with each other.
Nah, and I do agree with your statement about the Black
Mhm.
women. Black women do need to be valued more, obviously. And that's something we got to work on as Black men. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, anyway, man, shit, that was a long. I feel like this is a whole therapy session in this motherfucker.
That's right.
Yo,
I'm
listen,
getting
if
hot
y'all
in this
enjoyed the
fucking coat.
conversation, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if y'all not already subscribed, join the membership. Join. We're gonna have some exclusive footage. I don't know. We might continue to. I don't know. You never know. Just join the membership.
Well,
You
we
know what
gotta
I'm saying?
finish these bottles.
I mean, we gonna have to do that. I don't mind. Like, you know what I'm saying. Like, again, let them know
Take it
they
to the
can, again, let them know where they can follow you at.
Instagram at Miss, that's MS period Brownstone underscore. YouTube Miss Brownstone. Oh yeah, Spotify, Apple, all that at She Knows with She Knows Her Worth. She Knows by Miss Brownstone. Twitter, all at Miss Brownstone. They got everything. Yo.
You could just follow me on Instagram at littlebit.raw.
I ain't gonna front. When you first said that, I thought you said little bitch. I was like, what the?
You can follow me on
and
you can follow me on Instagram at kt.2k.
She got a lot to say.
People
Mhm.
appreciate
Yeah.
you for pulling
So
up.
y'all